Sorry, we're a few minutes late.
Yep.
This morning was a little bit... Woohoo!
I'm going to blame it on Christmas.
Yeah, that works.
Good. Okay, so today we're going to talk Dresdens.
Dresden.
If you're unfamiliar with Dresdens, it's these flowery point things. It's a really classic quilt block.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around for a long time. Named after, I assume, Dresden, Germany.
Right. So it's called a Dresden plate.
Made up of blades.
Right. Each of these little shards is called a blade.
Yes.
Don't
correct people if they say, look, I made some Dresden blades. And I've had people yell at me, it's a plate. It's only a plate if you put them all together.
Right. Until then, it's a blade. Or a series of blades. Anyway, so starting in January,
yep,
Lori Holt's next so-long is going to begin. And it's called Flea Market. And it is all Dresden flowers. So it's a whole bunch of different flowers made out of Dresden blades. And orange peels for leaves. It's going to be great. I'm really liking it because I feel like everything on that is so versatile. You know, we use Dresdens in a lot of places. You'll see them put into a lot of sampler quilts. Fans. I
just
turkeys.
Made a bunch of Christmas gifts out of them that I can't show you.
Right. But I've quilted a couple of quilts made from a whole big quilt made out of ties, that were done out of Dresden. So Dresdens are really universal. It was several years ago. I went to just a local shop before we had a shop and picked up a Dresden template because I was scared of them. You know, I'd never done it before. I'm like, this is probably hard. And my personality is, if it's hard, I probably want to learn how to do it because
it's hard.
I have to do it. If it's not a challenge to me, I'm bored.
But I'm going to show you Dresdens aren't hard.
They're not hard. Like, that was one of the things. I remember texting you being like, this was too easy.
Yeah. And it does involve a little bit of applique.
There is some applique. This is a nice mix of sewing and applique.
Yes. It's not 100% applique block, and it's not 100% pieced. So it's a good blend. We're going to be using our Homestead fabric by April Rosenthal. Jen used it to make her Brightly quilt.
This is called Brightly by, it comes from Cluck Cluck Sew. Sorry, there were threads.
She's still binding it.
I'm still binding it, so this end's nice and finished. This one's nice and not. You can still see some binding clips at the top. It's awesome. I loved this fabric. The pattern was done out of Backyard Blooms, but you know, I made clover out of Backyard Blooms.
We sold out of it way fast.
And so that didn't have enough left. But when Homestead came, I was like, look at these bright, happy colors. They should go in Brightly.
So and that's what this is.
And it's all gardening. So, like, there's some watering cans and some veggies and flowers. So I quilted it with gardening tools. Because I'm a dork.
Anyway, so that's the fabric we're using today. It's Homestead by April Rosenthal. Yep. So when it comes to a Dresden, there's quite a few different Dresden rulers.
And some rulers are going to be wider than others. So pay attention to what it is.
Angle right here.
I want to say the pie ruler that Lori is going to use is wider. So whereas this one's going to require, you can count on here, 20 blades. I want to say Lori's requires 16.
Yes. So they're not necessarily universal across the board.
Right.
Me and my sister
did a double one.
They have double Dresden, and they like their really fat Dresdens too. They're like fat and
so
stocky.
Cute. I mean, it's like 8 or 10 blades.
So every Dresden ruler is not necessarily 100% interchangeable. That said, there's really only a few different kinds of dimensions that we use. But right now we're using the Easy Dresden from Darlene Zimmerman because it's what Jen and I both had at our house.
Right, it's what was
Lori
at my home
will be using her pie ruler, is what she calls it.
For Flea Market. So if you did Cutie Pie,
then you already have it.
Sweetie Pie, then you already have that ruler.
It's so cherry. So that's what I'm
still
saying.
need to get one.
You want to make sure you've got the right Dresden ruler, but like I said, they can be used for projects forever.
And as for how to cut out our blades, I've already cut out 20 blades. All you do is figure out which height you're going to be. So between 1 inch, this goes up to 8 inches. Some will be longer. I have a Dresden ruler at home that's approximately this big.
It's made for teeny tiny Dresdens.
I was going to pull it out today to bring it with me, but it's only buried below like 20 other project boxes. Because I was working on a Christmas figs table runner with it. Anyway, so what I did is I have a strip cut that's 4.5 inches tall. This makes cutting these really easy because then I can just lay this over the top. I'm actually going to go from the bottom first just to get a nice, straight line because I only believe in cutting one direction. We're not coming back like this. That's a good way to hurt ourselves. We're going to take that away. Then I just line this up so I'm at 4.5 inches on the top and then the edges of my ruler there. And then I'll cut here.
And then you can flip your
ruler
ruler
around and then I can just flip and keep going. It's a really effective use of fabric.
There's
cut all the way through.
The only waste is that initial little diagonal at the beginning.
And I could have made that smaller. I was just...
So they're really
easy to cut. And they go really quickly.
Now, we're going to show you how to make another one like this. So she's cut out a whole bunch of blades. Mm-hmm. I know they're all blunted at the top. We're going to show you how we make that easy point.
So what we're going to do, the nice thing is these points are finished. So you just fold it in half. And I'm just going to chain piece all 20 of these. So I fold it in half, right sides together.
She's got it right. So we've got our right sides. Fold it in half right here. And we sew a 1/4 inch seam from here to here.
That's all.
Across the top of it. And I'll show you how that comes out in 1 second once she does it. After I cover this blade so I don't hurt myself.
Right. My one at home I have to squeeze to open the blade. So when I set it down, it's automatically closed. So I haven't always trained myself to close the blade. And one of these days I'm going to clear off a table and cut my hand.
Yeah, don't do that. Okay, so we have this little blade. If you really, really, really want to, you can blunt this top corner a little bit. I don't do that. Actually, I blunt it in the way I press it. Yes. Okay, so what we do is we take this. We've got our little hooded figure right here. That's what he is. And we turn it right side
out. But before we do that,
I open the seam.
And I kind of press it open. So go ahead and lay it down.
So just a second. I'm doing it with my finger right there. I'm kind of finger pressing it open to get it in.
See, and I really press it for real.
Finger press it. And then we have our handy point-to-point turner.
Now, guys, some people are going to tell you to do this to get it nice and straight. They're going to tell you to fold it in half all the way and press it and then turn it right side out so you know exactly where the center is I'll show you.
Yeah.
Because if we do it like this and we press that and then we turn it right side out,
then you can align your center perfectly.
Because once we flip our little guy over, we want the seam on that right where we pressed it. And then it's perfectly aligned.
I'm lazy and I feel like I'm good at eyeballing
I tend to eyeball it.
So I've got this just finger pressed out, and then we just need to press our little hood right down. So I'm going to show you what I did though, real quick, with this pointy turner.
Hold on.
Oh, you press
This
it
is
like
my
that.
way. I like to press it like this.
She's more fastidious.
And then this little hooded guy is down at a point like that. Isn't that fun?
There you go. That is fun.
I'm a dork.
She is. Okay. So we go ahead. I'm holding the seam. I like to keep my fingers on the seams to keep that seam open. I flip it over my finger, and you'll notice that it's not super sharp right here. It's where our handy dandy point turner is. If you've done anything with Lori Holt, you know what this tool is, and you know how useful it is.
So, you know, if you have
use it again.
You might have a boning tool, something like that.
With a point that's not going to poke a hole through your fabric. We're just going to go glide up, and we're going to just push that point out a little bit, and it's nice and sharp now. Mm-hmm. It's a sharper point. And then we press it. And that's all there is to making these blades. And so what's nice there is that you're not having to do any form of needle turn or anything to get your blades finished.
The outside point is already finished.
For when we go ahead and put them on the...
For you.
On the quilt.
Yep.
Or the block, to make the block.
I think it's funny, you know, we deal with a lot of people who are like, there's one right way to do this with most things with quilting. And Liz and I tend to be firm believers that there are several ways to get to one result. And what works best for you is the best way to go. Mm-hmm. So if you prefer finger pressing, if you prefer using the iron, if you want to make that line to make sure you can line it up perfectly, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to trim the top, they're all the right way. Because so long as they lead to the desired result, it's the right way to do it. And so it needs to be whatever way works best for you. Generally in classes, I will show multiple methods. I'll show my favorite method, and that might be what I spend most of my time focused on. But I do tend to talk about multiple methods because people have preferences.
Jen and I, we finished the binding on quilts differently.
Yes,
because I'm paranoid about it. We do a lot of things differently.
Right, the way we machine bind is different.
Yes. I'm a back to front person, and she's
I'm a front to back.
But it's all about what works for you.
Heck, we hold our pins in our mouths differently.
Yeah. See, we're not totally identical.
Right. Contrary to popular opinion.
So we need to go ahead and make our 20 blades. It's legit 20.
Right.
In order for, at least for this ruler. You really cannot do it with less, you guys.
No.
It doesn't work. And that's because of the angle of the cut on the blade. It just doesn't work.
Well, because to make a closed circle, you need 360 degrees. And if you end up with 340, we have a problem.
It just doesn't work.
Right. So, and if you end up with 380, you also have a problem. So we need our 360.
Yeah, there's not really any skimping it here.
No. So whichever, subdivision of 360 you use, if you wanted a whole bunch of very small ones, you could end up with a Dresden blade that needs 36.
A 10-degree blade.
A 10-degree blade, Or you could end up with, one that's only needs 10.
But these actually like the one from go together super
so fast. Guys, I started cutting the fabric for this morning.
But we're going to show you because I'm going to show you how to put some of these together into units.
Absolutely.
But then we're going to show you how to finish it. And that's because you end up with this fantastic little circle.
With a hole in the middle.
With a hole in the middle, and it's not stuck to the fabric.
Right.
So, it's useful.
We got to do both those things.
So, and then it goes back to there's more than one way to finish it from there.
Absolutely.
So, it's like anything with applique, you guys. Seriously, this is the project for the people who love Lori Holt but hate hand applique. Because this is so
machine applique friendly.
Machine applique. Like, because the orange peels, the bias tape, the Dresden's, all very, very machine applique friendly.
Totally.
And will look great. So, if you've been wanting to do a Lori so long and hand applique is not your thing, do machine. This one's totally doable with machine.
Right. Also beginner friendly.
Okay.
Guys, did you see my new table?
Sure.
This is my Christmas present to me. I don't know if you've ever used Sew Steady tables. We've had one in here for our videos for a while that's clear, which is awesome. They are cut to your machine. So if you order one, you tell us exactly what machine you have, and it is cut to match your machine perfectly. It has adjustable legs to make it taller. We literally got it out of the box this morning.
So we haven't adjusted it.
So I haven't adjusted it. But this one's portable, so it can go with me to classes and stuff. So I have a bigger work table. I kind of like this for videos though, because then you can see what's on my work table a little better than with the clear one.
How many of these am I pressing? We're doing all 20?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, why not?
Okay, so Jen, tell them about finishing this.
So this is a Dresden plate all sewn together. Now, our next step...
Show the back.
Yeah, okay, so this is the back. You can see my 1/4-inch seams. I pressed them open.
Yes, press open.
Because it'll lay nice and flat. And was it totally perfect in the center? No, I pressed it and it was good. And you'll see that here in a second.
Even if they don't line up totally perfect in the center, it's going to be okay.
Well, and when we come to sew these together, I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 and start doing that.
Talk about meeting what matching
We're going to match what matters. So here, I'm putting 2 blades together. And the question is, do I start from... I always start sewing from the top.
From that finished edge.
Because I want these 2 finished edges, 1/4 of an inch in, to match.
Perfect.
And if the bottom matches, great. If not, that'll get...
You'll see
that'll get hidden. So once I put those 2 together, I'm just going to sew a straight line.
Yep.
That's all. And then I'm going to grab 2 more and
Since
again,
this blade's going to be totally...
It's going to be exactly... Random. Normally, I would say, lay it all out, make sure you like it, pick it up, sew it, put it back down. I luckily have a template right here, so I can easily match two things together without doing that.
Yep. Okay, so
once I've sewn two together, like this, I'm just going to open it up and give it a press, and then put it back down on my board. Now, I don't personally, I suppose you could, go in order and maybe sew.
Oh, I make segments,
quadrants. This like this. What I do is I chunk it up. So I will start with my 20 blades by making 20 pairings.
10 pairs.
Yeah, 10 pairs of 20. That's what I'm trying to say.
Like, that's a lot.
Right, that'd be really big. So I'm going to pair them up so that then I have 10 pieces to work with. And then also those 10.
So you have 5.
Right.
And then 3, and then 2, and then 1.
Right. You know, see how that works?
Plus, so I like to works for all of us compulsive chain piecers out there.
It does work for all of us compulsive chain piecers.
It totally does.
So, and it's okay if you haven't entered the world of compulsive chain piecing.
It is. You really don't have to be as compulsive about anything as Jen and I are.
You're right.
It's probably considered a personality flaw or
a
condition, disorder.
No, it's not a disorder. Tyson said so.
Okay. Her therapist's husband says that we have compulsions but not disorders.
It's not a disorder because it doesn't affect the quality of our life.
I'm not sure about that, but okay.
Well, not significantly.
Not significantly. There's no significant effect on the quality of our life.
Right.
So it's just a compulsion.
It's just a compulsion. It's not a disorder.
Okay. Good to know.
It's nice to have
I need to hand their therapist around.
Keep my therapist around at home. Not really.
Did you guys see in our stories?
Not a therapist.
I posted a picture of Jen's husband and her son in their Santa.
Oh, did you put it in our stories?
I did this morning. There's also pictures of Jen. She's gonna love it.
Great.
This is what happens. If she texts me pictures, they are free game for Instagram.
It's fair game. I have to be careful about what I send her. So it's
like, if you don't want all of our people to see it.
But they are so cute. I made, so one of the mask panels we got has a little Santa beard on it. And there was a big one and a little one. And my husband's he's a big bearded guy. And so...
And her son is Southern and clearly not.
Not a bearded guy. But they have matching masks and it's totally cute. And my dad is jealous. He's like, I want one. And I was like, Dad, you have your own white beard.
I was like, Dad's already got a white beard.
But I guess if he covers it up with a mask, he needs a white beard mask.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's just funny. That's the point.
I thought it was funny that Dad was jealous. I'm like, Dad, you legit have a Santa beard. Okay, now I have to put him in order.
She's going to get confused if she doesn't organize herself here.
Right.
And I'm pressing the last one, so
good
we're
job.
Okay. So when it comes to, after I press these, I'm going to talk to you guys about finishing the centers.
Yes.
While she pieces this thing together.
So now I'm going to preface with finishing the centers. There are so many ways to do this. So many. And you can pick whichever method you like best.
Yeah.
Some people are going to go needle turn. Some people are going to want to do freezer paper. Several of the methods will have you make a plastic template and cut your piece big, do a big stitch around the outside and pull it tight and press, and then pull your template out.
Lots of methods.
All good ways to do it.
We're going to use the Lori Holt method.
We're going to use the Lori Holt method because if you're going to do Flea Market, this is what she's going to do.
So, what that means is, where did those circle templates go?
I don't know.
They're on the chart. Anyway,
let's clean up after me.
So, when it comes to the materials we're using for the sew along, this one doesn't have her whole giant set of shapes that we normally see. And for anybody who's got a question about why they have to buy the plastic templates, my view, and this is how I ask people to look at it, and you can take it however you want, is that the pattern is free. It's on her blog. And anytime I've looked at a giant applique quilt pattern, it's usually about $30 for the pattern itself. And it comes with paper that I then have to trace. And Lori's, the pattern is free. And what she asks me to buy is plastic templates that are really handy to use. So I look at the templates as being the pattern fee that I would normally buy for any other big applique
for any
kit.
quilt.
So take that however you want to, but it makes me feel better about it, and it's really, and when I put it that way, I feel like, oh, that's more than fair. Plus, I'm getting plastic templates, and I don't have to make my own or use a light box all day.
Right.
So anyway,
that's awesome.
Anyway, so but this one, instead of having a big set of the plastic templates, what she's using is, like I said, her pie ruler from Sweetie Pie. So if you've done Sweetie Pie, you already have that. Her circle templates from...
She's had for a while. She's had a couple sets. These are the ones we bought from Granny Chic. It has a 9-inch, a 6-inch, a 4-inch, and a 2-inch.
And I'm going to be honest, you can get away with not buying the circle templates because you can trace a circle that size if you want to get away with not buying them. They're handy to have. Circle rulers are really handy for things.
Right. I use them for... I've used mine for several projects, not just one.
So, and then the third thing, and this is the only thing that's new for this so long, is her orange peel set, and it's like 3 orange peels. So it's a smaller, much cheaper set of plastic templates than what we normally see in a Lori Holt so long.
Right.
So just FYI, those are the 3 things. And there's a bias tape maker, but if you've done anything Lori Holt, you probably own a set of bias tape makers.
And if not, you should probably have one.
If not, you should. So, you know. They were all the rage this spring when people were making masks. People were like, have you seen a bias tape maker before? These things are amazing. I'm like, yeah, I own a whole set.
Right.
Because I've used them a lot. So anyway, those are the tools. So that said, we are using her circle templates to make the centers of these Dresdens.
Like I said, I use them a lot.
If you've looked at Flea Market, and if you haven't looked at Flea Market, click on the link in this video because then you can see it. It has... like some of the flowers, it looks like a big sunflower where the blades are only smaller and it's got like 3 concentric circles on the inside. It's going to be super cute. So it uses several of the different sizes of these templates. What I've gone ahead and done already is traced 2 different sizes of it onto my sew-in interfacing because we're using an interfacing method.
Right.
Okay. And we'll do you want to do the big guy in the flower or in...
We could do both. I mean, I'm going to have 2.
Okay,
we can show how both look.
So I'm going to be crazy and kind of fussy cut this because that's
which works. But that's why I brought a big piece because I thought that fabric was so pretty. It's actually the back of this quilt.
She really, really, really likes it apparently.
It's really pretty.
It is.
Sarita was like, do you want the one that looks like a sheet? I'm like, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and probably put like this red flower right here, right in the middle. And so it's really nice to have the interfacing be kind of see-through so I can see what I'm doing. And it's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here with my, I dropped my other one, with our handy dandy rotary cutter. And just kind of cut out a big square around it. I'm going to turn it this way so I don't hurt myself. We'll give that to Jen. I'll show you how to stitch it.
So you can see now I'm grabbing chunks and just putting those bigger chunks together instead of individual blades.
And then this one I'm going to, for the smaller one, we'll use our yellow flower right here.
Right?
I'm going to just put it right
You might as well fussy cut, you know?
And
so long as it's there, let's fussy.
Sorry, here's your little extras.
All right, now when I'm working with a piece this big with interfacing, I'm going to tell Liz to pin it. The reason is I can't promise that it's going to be great all the way around if I don't.
Yeah. No, when we're working with tiny pieces, it's not as big of a deal, but even on this smaller circle.
Well, because I'm working it around in a circle, and it's really easy to be moving one thing and not the other.
Yes. So I'm going to actually go ahead and put like 4 pins in this big one.
Yeah, at least.
All the way around. And a couple in the other one. And then I'm going to press some more while she does this.
All right. So now I personally like to shorten my stitch a little bit when I'm doing this kind of applique method. Not everybody does. That's fine. Everybody do your own thing.
I kind of want you guys to watch how her hand moves because people get a little fussy with circles on this.
Ideally, I don't pick up my foot. Okay?
Yeah.
And this
is not a tiny circle, so it should be okay.
It's the same with small circles. I don't pick up my foot. I'm going to use it's okay to stop sewing, but I don't like to pick up my foot because that's where I get a sharp edge.
And don't go fast. It's okay to go slow.
I mean, you guys have watched me sew. I'm definitely a pedal to the metal sewer. No question about it. I'm not going to do that because
then we get messed up.
Right, and I want a very nice circle, which I feel like I'm getting here.
Yep, and then I'm going to use our little point-to-point turner to make it really
nice.
Ooh, I need a seam ripper.
Yes, you do.
I'm going to show you guys how this works. And this is for turning this sucker. Okay. Seam ripper might sound like a weird thing for me to be grabbing at this point.
Because hopefully I sewed it right and I don't need one.
We don't need to pick out any seams. I'm not using it to pick out seams. I'm going to show you. It's a good trick.
Sorry, I can pull the chain piece over here.
Now you can cut it though.
Right.
Okay, so what I want to show you guys, and it does feel like it gets a little bunchy and that's totally fine. Because it's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead and trim around this circle about 1/4 inch. We don't need to clip the corners or anything.
Nope, it's an outer curve, so that doesn't need to be clipped. If you're ever dealing with an inner curve, you do need to clip.
Now we're talking about 1/4 inch, maybe a scant quarter. Don't do super generous, it's going to get really bulky. But don't go really, really, really narrow, or you might regret it.
Right, we need more than a couple of threads.
So an approximate 1/4 inch. So anyway, that's what we're doing. So we're going to just go ahead and trim that. So now I have my circle here. This is when my seam ripper comes in, you guys. Because what I need to do is be able to turn this thing around. And I take my seam ripper and I just get into this interfacing just a tad. I don't like to do this with scissors because then I'm more likely to tear a hole in my fabric. But a seam ripper, if it goes through the weave of the fabric, it's easy to just pull it back out without actually having cut a hole. So I've got it in there, and I'm just going to make a little slit in my interfacing. Seriously, my seam ripper is my other tool when I trim things. Then I'm going to take my scissors and cut an X. It really does help to have it cut 4 directions. The more that you can avoid tearing the interfacing as you cut it, the better. So if you've got it open 4 directions, then it's less likely to tear because it's going to be sufficient to get it through.
Especially with a bigger shape.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and just turn that right side out. It's like a flower blooming. Look at that.
Right?
So cute. Okay. Then I just stick my finger in there and I'm going to get it out. This is a featherweight interfacing, so it's a little thinner than what we normally use.
Yeah, I did use a very lightweight interfacing.
A lightweight interfacing is fine on big shapes, you guys.
Big circles like this, you don't need the expensive stuff. I mean, I'm happy to sell you the expensive stuff, that's fine, but I personally don't use it.
I did a whole video on it a couple years ago, and I need to repost it again because it is handy to know that you don't have to use the $12 interfacing on giant circles because it can save you a lot of money. Okay, so this is our shape just turned. You can see the corners are a little bit rough. So this sucker's for not corners. The edges are a little bit rough. So I take my curved end, and I'm just going to kind of slightly pull it around the edge of the circle and smooth things up a bit.
Now her edge there is between the fabric and the seam.
I'm not against the interfacing. If I did this against the interfacing, I'd tear a hole in the interfacing.
Especially with the featherweight interfacing.
And so we are doing it between the fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and press from the top, not on the interfacing because I don't want it to shrivel.
Right, the interfacing can't handle the high heat directly on it.
Yeah, it can handle being it from this direction, but not directly. There's one more spot I want to smooth out now that it's pressed.
I'm going to take her iron spot.
So I got it pressed, and it's amazing what the curved end of this turner can do.
Oh my goodness.
As far as smoothing things out.
Hold on, one more. I have 2 halves, guys.
Yep, she's almost done.
Right, and then we can show you what the big and the little are going to look like. It's going to be great.
Okay, so we got this. So give me that big guy. That one.
The finished one here.
Okay, so what we do here, you guys, is this is the part where we need the fabric that it's going to go on. But this becomes the center of our Dresden. You can go ahead and fold this and mark the center so that it's exactly lined up as a compass center. Or you can eyeball it. It's really up to you.
Or I personally will use a ruler, and if this is 3.5 inches down,
that should be
sure
3.5.
Or if you have a really cool
Whatever
squared up ruler, which I do,
then you can
use that.
But you do kind of want to make sure it's at least pseudo-centered. But this is our smaller one. Now, to go ahead and put this onto fabric,
so I brought
you take
some.
Your quilt block. I'm just going to show you.
Open it up.
Okay. So what we do is we would take this block. I would cut this
I might
down.
cut out like a 14-inch square.
And we go ahead and lay this on there. Now, this is when we get into what kind of applique method you like to use. I have used heat and bond or steam-a-theme to attach Dresdens before, especially if they're made with a material that's not awesome. We can, and I'm going to assume Lori's going to just glue this, probably, and hand applique it. And that would be my method in this case, where we would just take our,
I'd use my Sue glue or my Roxanne's and glue this and put some dots of glue to glue it down. And once it's glued down, I would hand applique
machine applique it.
Now, it's totally machine applique friendly, guys. So I know a lot of people who use a straight stitch narrowly around the outside, others that will zigzag it down.
Or blanket stitch. I just did a whole bunch of them, and I just did a straight stitch. Really, really, really narrow.
No, Ingrid, I'm not using Lori's fabric, but this is new fabric. It's from a line called Homestead by April Rosenthal.
But we do expect Flea Market
should be
any
here
day, to be
very,
honest.
very soon, actually. So if you pre-ordered your kit, or if you pre-order it today, those will get done like within a day or two of the fabric getting here, and then we will have it out the door. Unless it arrives like on Christmas Eve, in which case it'll be a few extra days. Because, Christmas.
That we have inventory.
And we have inventory. So we may not even receive it. Because then we don't have to count it.
If I don't receive it, then I don't have to inventory it.
So here we've made another one. That's fun.
Okay, so big circle, same story. Seam ripper, right?
Seam ripper to open it up a little bit.
To make sure I'm not cutting the fabric. I don't want to be cutting a hole in my fabric.
Have you guys seen these?
Jen's gonna talk about.
If you need a little stocking stuffer, or friend for the gift for the quilty friend,
or the husband needs a stocking stuffer,
or the husband needs a stocking
to
stuffer. We're really good at
directing husbands to
stocking stuffers. So send them in. But holds my rotary cutter, my scissors, and my little ruler. And so it goes in my bag, and I always know right where my rotary cutter is for my travel bag. So this is a really fun gifty idea. And there's a green version.
Yeah, that's what I have. Big shocker.
And I want to say they're like $9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually cheaper.
They're a really good price. I thought they were going to be more expensive when we ordered them, but I do like them.
So this one's bigger, so I'm not smoothing out my curves holding it up. I'm smoothing it out on the surface.
Lay it down, yep.
Because it's a much bigger shape.
Then flip it over.
So these ones are fun because when it comes to the center of a Dresden, and Lori does it in the sew along, you can layer it. So it's like we could put a cute gray circle around this one and a little thing on the inside.
Right,
except that I
have like a yellow outside of it or something.
So this is it with the big old circle. And so all of a sudden our blades get much smaller and the focus becomes the center, which is a lot of fun too. So you guys, I hope you're not afraid of Dresdens. They're a lot of fun actually. And like I said, you really can just top stitch this around the edge.
Right.
And I did it 2 weeks ago. So I know you can, and I know it turns out pretty decently. And then the same thing, you just top stitch this down right here.
Right. I'm probably gonna use one of these and stitch it on the back as a quilt label.
Because she's a dork.
It would be so cute. I'm a dork, but yeah, it would be so cute.
Yes.
Right?
Anyway,
embroider the little label.
So I hope you're having fun. Jen and I are going to figure out how to see you next Thursday.
We will have
Christmas
a video
Eve.
on Thursday. It is going to be Christmas Eve. There will probably be some cooking involved.
It may be I think it's at my house again.
I think we're going to be at your house again. Yeah.
Hope y'all don't mind. We do come here on Christmas Eve, though.
Yeah, Christmas tradition is Christmas Eve at Mom and Dad's house with all the kids, all the grandkids. That may not happen that way this year. I don't know. You know, COVID.
Waiting to see what the next week looks like.
Right. Too early to make a call.
But yeah. Anyway, but Christmas Eve, we'll see you from
Liz's house, and we will do something fun.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Great times.
Great times. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
We'll see ya. Okay, seriously, I love the fussy cat. He's so cute.